And it's the webinar you have all been waiting for. Or was it me? I have been waiting for this webinar because it's about me and my work. And I think you can learn a bit about it, I hope. First of all, thank you very much the Foundry, Juan, Jen, for giving me this opportunity. Obviously, I'm very, very grateful for this. Second, big shout out to Fable FX in Stockholm. Check Fable FX website out. They do amazing work, creature work. It's state of the art, really good stuff. Thank you Kai Steverman and Thomas Deutschman for bringing the project in that I'm actually about to showcase today. Who am I? So Thomas Wall, as you saw in the description, duh, visual effects supervisor, lead compositor, online editor, visual effects director, post-producer. You can probably call me some kind of multi-talent. I've actually done quite a lot of different things during these past 15 years I've been working in this industry. Some of you might actually know me for throwing a really big leaving party at the Mill in New York 5 years ago, but that's just some of you. I also always wear a suit when I work, and if I don't wear a suit, at least I wear a shirt. And now you're thinking, Thomas, what are you doing in a remote location like that? It must be the Baltic Sea behind you. Yes, it is. It's the Baltic Sea. I have quarantined myself and my family out here by the summer house. This is actually where I run my company from right now. What I'm about to show you today actually works with the client present in your online suite, but it also works on remote location, obviously, otherwise I wouldn't be here. Quickly, I'm going to talk about how you can use Nuke Studio only for online editing and grading in a really quick, fast environment, and it works really good for small companies where you want to keep your costs down and be really efficient when working. Over to myself inside. Some tea. Okay, inside by the computer. Let's have a look at the commercial we're going to showcase today.
Mẹ ơi, cho con phòng học này nhé.
Khi ý chí cần tiếp thêm sức mạnh, gấu mạnh mẽ luôn đồng hành cùng bé. Sữa Nestle cho xương chắc khỏe, cho cơ thể mạnh mẽ luôn đồng hành cùng ý chí của bé.
Nam ơi!
Sữa Nestle cho một thế hệ mạnh mẽ.
Some of you watching this have extensive experience with long format work, such as feature films and TV series, and to you, what I'm about to say and show might be a bit upsetting. You never know. First, I want to talk about online editing really quickly. What is it? Online editing is the very final stage before delivery. In a commercials environment, it's done with the client present behind your back, making comments, asking for adjustments, reverting back to previous versions, going back to the latest version again, splitting the difference between what they just saw to what you show them this morning. No matter in what media you're working, it's obviously important to name your versions and, you know, keep it tidy and make it easy for people to understand what you've done in your script. It's important to constantly have a dialogue, not just talk. Have a dialogue with the client, explaining what is possible, what is not possible without saying impossible. I mean, you give ideas, opinions, solutions, but always bear in mind that the client you're dealing with is paying for what you do and make decisions and opinions based on what will sell their product, not necessarily what is a good picture. And quite often, they actually care more about the pack shot at the very end and what the full commercial as a whole looks like to the consumer, rather than looking at if this is photoreal, perfect comping CG. That's actually secondary for a lot of clients. And my honest opinion is that online editing is not for everyone. It's a very specific mindset that you need, and it's mainly for people who likes the rush of working under severe pressure, giving service as well as making the client, who knows nothing about visual effects, comfort and trust in you and your work in the quickest possible way. And at the same time, you obviously need to try to deliver stunning results. And now you're wondering, Thomas, couldn't you show us a little bit what it looks like in a client session? And if we talk about remote work, it's the same thing. The client is present because we're making all the final decisions before delivery, here and now. The only difference is that you have your session through Skype, Meets, Zoom, Twitch, Slack. I've tried them all, and you know, it's still a work in progress in that phase. And we're also going to talk about grading here, and grading is quite similar actually, because you're doing final grade together with the client. You need to come up with a look and feel with the decision makers behind your back or remote online at the same time. Sometimes you have just a few hours to finish a complex 60-second spot when you would wish you had 3 days to get the result you want. And I'm not a Bible. every project is different, but this is my kind of combined experience in working as a lead composer in an online session for quite many years. My decision to use Nuke Studio for my company is first of all because I have used Nuke since Nuke 5. I know it inside out. I have experience using other softwares as well and feel that the best option for me and my company is Nuke Studio. And why is that? Well, mainly because you can do it all at once. You can update the edit, you can do more complex compositing in your node tree, you can do match grading between shots, really simple, you can do the time warps, paint work, everything all at the same time. And that suits me. Okay, so let's start with the conform. Once you have your conform on your timeline, everything is synced up, I always do the same thing. I always export all the shots to the server. It doesn't matter if it's just me working on this spot or if I'm managing a team. The procedure is always the same. This allows me to have multiple Nuke scripts running at the same time in the background, as well as the timeline in Studio. And why do I like that? Because I can jump between the timeline and the shots we're working on very quickly and show results within seconds. In this showcase, after the tech read, which I will not cover today, I prepped all the plates for Fable Effects, who is doing the CG bear, and also the composting of the actual bear. Paintwork, removing objects, cleanup that would appear behind the bear was my first priority. And I must mention that Fable had been on this job for way longer before I came in, where they were working on ungraded offline plates. And this is where remote sharing comes in. And just quickly working on the remote aspect, I'm using a service called Axin to move and transfer files between artists, which is really good. I'm not going to go too deep into this because this is about Nuke Studio, but this is definitely worth checking out. Fable made sure they had a version for each and every shot containing CG before I came in. So on the first day of online and grading, myself and the clients went through all the notes, what needs to be done. And this was both online and grading at the same time. We just merged the two, combining it as one session. And now I'm going to be very transparent here. We knew that the final commercial would be shown in commercials blocks in Vietnam, both North and South Vietnam, and on YouTube. To get the quickest possible workflow, we had to make a decision on what color space, file format to use. We were all working remote, Fable in their office and myself in my office, together with the clients. Speed in upload and download was essential for the project. And this is just my reflection. I guess the standard today is more like 16-bit half-float EXRs. But to speed things up, we looked at the project and we wanted speed as well as a good outcome, obviously. But we also looked at the final media, the YouTube and the commercials blocks in Vietnam, and came to the conclusion that we would work on 10-bit DPX files for the live action plates. Old school, I know. But here's the thing, I'm only speaking for myself here. As long as you're aware of the consequences a decision like this will cause in the long run, it's fine. What you need to make sure is that you don't come back later and say, I can't get coverage in the overexposed white areas just because you decided to go for 10-bit instead of 16-bit. It's okay to cheat and save time if you make sure it won't affect the final product. And I also have to be clear that the compositing workflow in regards of the CG bear was of course done with EXRs containing all necessary AOVs. By the book, by Fable. We're only talking about grading of the backplates right now. Let's go deeper into the grade phase. The client's main concern was that the bear looked too yellow and that the people looked pale and tired. And this is really where Nuke Studio comes in handy. By opening up a Nuke script in the background, piping all the tech-graded plates to a contact sheet, we got a massive overview what shot worked best and which ones needed more tweaking. And I did all the tweaking straight under each read node in my Nuke X comp. That way the client could actually see in real time what was happening with the grade and at the same time compare it to the rest of the shots. You pick one hero and then you match everything else towards that. And after that I just took that bunch of nodes and copied into the correct script. And as one shot was rendering, I was already working on the other one, because I always had multiple scripts open at the same time. I can't express how much I think this is all about service. All of a sudden they wanted to see updates on the cleanup of the boy's face. And this is where the workflow is so powerful. Because since I was already doing the grade in the same script as the cleanup, so I could within a few minutes show them both the smoothed face of the boy together with the latest grade. Okay, was this project a smooth ride? Well, every project has its own challenges. Obviously, one of the biggest challenges was to please the client who wanted the polar bear to look super white, like milk. And quite frankly, because this commercial's only purpose is to get people to drink milk, their milk, the client has that mindset, which totally makes sense if you look at it from that perspective. But we still had to make sure that the bear was sitting in each scene. So even though all plates were graded and matched towards each other, the lighting would differ between different scenes. And that's just the way it is in real life. One example, to make the bear look the same in the yellow wallpapered stairway as in the blue painted room, and at the same time have the same super white color, was something that we talked and worked on for hours. And to repeat, it's my job to please the client, to get them what they want, but at the same time, you need to have pride. It's not like you do everything they tell you. You need to argue back and forth and give your opinion together with them, respecting their opinion, and that way you work your way forward. One quick example I want to show now is that they actually wanted to push the skin colors. And here's an example where we tried pushing the skin colors all the way to super pink, whilst obviously from a photoreal perspective, you would want them more natural. Conversations like this bounced back and forth all the time. And in the middle of all this, a question to extend one shot came in. They wanted to see Fable's mighty bear for longer in one shot. This shot. Short break, need some tea. So quickly, O-flow was used to slow down the end of that shot and show them the new timing. And after that, some paint work to remove some jitter that can be caused when you slow a shot down using motion. And now I know what you're thinking. Why do you do it that way? That's not the proper way, Thomas. No, you're right. The proper way would be to go back to CG, reanimate, render, give it a comp, composite it properly back together again. But we only had half an hour. So with this solution, we solved it and signed it off with the client within 20 minutes. So I've been talking a lot about stress and pressure and all that today, and I hope I've covered what you understand with the remote part as well. When we started Cinegrace, we realized that there are so many talented remote artists and companies around the world that we could collaborate with. So we don't want a huge staff around us. We want to be flexible, take small gigs, and expand to be able to do bigger jobs as well. So I hope this short, condensed explanation about Nuke Studio, working in online editing and in grade, has helped some of you, and I hope it's been slightly entertaining at least. And since I'm such a great mind reader, I know that you all want to see, what did it look like when everything was approved? This is what it looked like. If you like what you've seen so far, thumbs up. Thanks, guys.